is it possible to lose money even without giving OTP to any person?
If I'm a cyber criminal, my aim is money. There are n number of ways to get money. Because to execute their plan, the more data they have about you, the more personal data they have about you, the better it is. Unfortunately, everywhere where you're told that you should give an identity proof, there are different identity proofs. You can give your passport, your driving license, your PAN card, but no, we give our Aadhaar card. And our Aadhaar card has our biometrics, the most sensitive data that you can have. Let's say you are checking in a hotel and you're giving your Aadhaar straight away. Guess what? You don't know what is happening to your Aadhaar data. If somewhere or the other it is in the hands of a cyber criminal, then he can attack you in n number of ways. The irony is that we spend almost 8 to 10 hours on the internet every day, whether it's for leisure, it's for work, or for your hobby, but you don't know the basic do's and don'ts. If today your account gets hacked, you don't know what to do. We have seen cases these days where people are losing amounts more than 50 lakhs in a digital arrest.
If you're talking about brainwashing of these so-called innocent people, I would say, right? Villagers and somebody from the rural side of India, right? Underprivileged people. So are there gangs operating who take leverage of these people who are not educated properly and involve them in the crimes?
Any day. I mean, major problem is if you are using any electronic device, it is your responsibility to at least know what's happening around you so that you don't become a potential victim next time.
If you're using laptops, mobiles, or any other devices like CCTV cameras, then this video is for you. How safe you are, what are cyber criminals doing to your data, and how you can protect yourselves. Today we have with us Mr. Saakshar Duggal. He's a lawyer with Delhi High Court and also an AI law expert. He's a 13 times TEDx speaker and has spoken at multiple prestigious organizations like the UN, DRDO, and he also has a book on his name on cyber crimes. Welcome, Saakshar. Before jumping to the topic, I would like to know your introduction and also what is your take on cyber hygiene, what are different kind of frauds and what everybody should be aware of.
Well, coming to my background, I think it was more like it was a mix of luck by chance and some sort of interest. Why? Because from the beginning, I wanted to do something different. But pata nahi tha kya karna hai. My parents wanted me to be an architect, but I failed in maths. So they lost all hopes. Then I took humanities because I didn't want to do maths. After humanities, no options were left. So I thought, law kar lete hain. After doing law, again, I thought something different has to be done, but what, I don't know. From the beginning, I thought that, okay, I used to observe that technology is one thing which is evergreen. It is impacting everyone and it's not stopping. It's just growing day by day, year by year. Then COVID happened. And COVID happened, I was convinced that yes, we have complete reliance on technology. We can't, it's a myth. If we say that we can live without technology, we can't. But at the same time, new crimes were also evolving. Before COVID, it used to happen, but it was a huge boom during COVID times and post-COVID times of cyber crimes. Different kinds of cyber crimes, whether it's OTP fraud, link fraud, phishing mails and whatnot. That's where I thought that, okay, this is something which everyone needs. They don't know what to do. And I, as a law student, I have the core competence that, okay, I can merge technology with law. And obviously, I started to read about this. I started to speak at different forums, some colleges, schools, and then ChatGPT came in and everything changed. And it was again luck. Why did I say luck by chance? Because I did my master's in AI and IPR, intellectual property rights. I just thought that, okay, AI angle dal dete hain. It is futuristic. But I didn't know that I finished my master's in September and in November, ChatGPT came in.
Okay.
So suddenly it was an AI boom there. And that's where from there till now, I think AI, that's why I've considered AI as my specialization, because AI is everywhere, impacting every single industry. New kinds of crimes, as you said, there are different kinds of crimes that are coming up these days. For example, voice cloning, deepfakes, digital arrest, and obviously the evergreen OTP and link frauds, which we call it as the financial frauds. So these are the crimes that are cyber crimes that are taking place these days. And there is this concept called cyber hygiene. Now, for the benefit of the viewers, what is cyber hygiene? In simple terms, these are the basic do's and don'ts that you do on the internet. This might sound a bit monotonous. This might sound a bit common. Like, okay, yaar, ye do's and don'ts to main pata hai. But the reality is we don't know. The irony is that we spend almost 8 to 10 hours on the internet every day, whether it's for leisure, it's for work, or for your hobby. But you don't know the basic do's and don'ts. If today your account gets hacked, you don't know what to do. Okay, you can go on the portal's reporting option, but after that, you don't know. If there's an OTP fraud, you don't know. So, as a matter of fact, the irony is that technology is advancing, but our understanding and our knowledge of what are the do's and don'ts on the internet is going for a 6.
So I think one question that I have is, first of all, on your education, you did basic law, and after that you did specialization, right? So is there a specific specialization that is there, uh, considering the kind of frauds that are happening nowadays, right? What is the process that people can enroll to that kind of a course?
Right now, fortunately or unfortunately, there is no such stream in colleges which is known as, yes, there are subjects which teach under cyber law, where our mother legislation on IT, which is the IT Act, it is the mother legislation in our country. So cyber laws is a subject which is taught in law colleges, I think in second, third year or fourth year.
Okay.
But as a specialization, specifically to AI, there is nothing at the moment. Outside some universities, outside India, some universities have started to do it, but I think in India it will take some amount of time. So if you ask me, if a person is interested, what can he or she do? Personal knowledge is the best thing. If you have to upgrade yourselves every day, and when I say every day, I'm not exaggerating. Why? Because like now we are just talking, right?
Yeah.
Within an hour, something or the other, some change, some development has taken place in the world. That's where you have to update yourself every single day, because this space is such that it's a constant journey of evolving yourself with knowledge.
And from users' perspective, what do you think are the main crimes that are happening nowadays, and what users can do to prevent themselves?
Well, as I listed beforehand as well, there are 4 types of crimes which I'm seeing right now, which are taking place a lot. Number 1 is financial frauds. Under financial frauds, obviously, these are link frauds, OTP frauds that are coming. You get OTPs, and these are quite famous. But coming to the other categories, the new crimes, which I call the AI crimes, these are deepfakes, voice cloning. Deepfakes, as we all know, it's you can morph the video, you can manipulate the video in such a manner which is somewhere defrauding the other person. You are becoming someone else. For example, in Hong Kong, there was this company which dealt in finances. So there, the practice was that the chief financial officer used to, sit with their respective teams around the world on Zoom, and they used to discuss once a month. They used to discuss that, okay, these are the numbers, what is to be done with this money, etc., etc. One fine day, some cyber criminal got the credentials of this Zoom meeting. He created a deepfake of this CFO, Chief Financial Officer. And obviously his employees were not able to detect. And through that deepfake, this so-called CFO said that, okay, transfer the money to this XYZ account. That XYZ account belonged to the cyber criminals. Obviously, first of all, these were subordinates. They would not question their senior.
Yeah.
But just imagine what kind of deepfake that would have been, that it convinced these guys that, okay, this person who is sitting is a real person. But unfortunately, it was not. So that is deepfakes.
Yeah, I mean, we have seen the memes of Modi ji dancing and all. We know that these are the kind of deepfakes that we see in a humorous manner. But given what you are saying, how harmful it can be, both, I mean, to the monetary and non-monetary aspect, we also see, I think, some of the morph videos of actresses, right? That is very risky. And given in a country like India, where we see a lot of social stigma attached to all these kind of things, right? So it becomes very challenging for the women, especially, right, if these kind of things happen.
And this, we actually saw that, right? Different actors, actresses, cricketers, their deepfakes was made, and there were different types. Sometimes deepfakes were made to, to defame someone, to defame an actress or an actor. And these were live examples. We saw deepfakes of cricketers where they were talking about something else, but it was shown as if they're promoting an XYZ app.
Correct.
And that app got traction.
Yeah.
Sometimes we saw in the elections as well, again, defaming a politician from another party so that it manipulates the mind of the voters. The voter perception gets changed. So deepfakes is a huge problem these days. That's number 1. Number 2 is voice cloning. Now, voice cloning, I would say, is the brother of deepfake. Why? In deepfakes, you manipulate the video. In voice cloning, you manipulate the voice. And there are a lot of crimes these days where people are getting calls. See, crimes are always evolving. earlier you used to get calls that, okay, I am Mr. XYZ, or not even Mr. XYZ, I'm your chacha, taya, niece, whatever, I'm your relative, I'm in danger and I need some money, please transfer the money. Now it has gone to the next level. They can actually replicate that voice. If they have done their homework properly, they can replicate that voice, and you don't have any options but to trust them. I mean, it's very, very difficult. If you are sitting somewhere and your so-called chacha calls you that, okay, I'm injured, I need money, your reflex reaction would be that, okay, my chacha and you are just hearing, right? That time you won't think that, okay, this is voice cloning, something like that. You won't even think twice to confirm as well, because you are in such a hurry that, okay, he's injured, he's my chacha, I have to give him money. So again, voice cloning becomes another deadly tool. Last but not least, which is the most prominent one these days, is the concept of digital arrest. Now, what is digital arrest? In simple terms, I'm sure a lot of our users must have heard about this FedEx fraud which is happening, that you get a call and you are said that, okay, your courier, this courier is in your name and we have found some illegal material in this. So kindly come on a WhatsApp video call. Our police officials and our investigating authorities would like to talk to you. So they make a setup like this, that, okay, as if the person is actually a police professional. He's sitting here and he's talking to you on WhatsApp. Now, this might sound a bit kiddish. I mean, who would trust that? But trust me, they're so convincing that, first of all, wapo dhamkate, they create that fear factor so that you believe them, number one. Number two, they create that fear factor to such an extent that they say that now you are in an arrest, digital arrest, which means you can't talk to anyone for these, let's say, 2 days, 3 days. And we have seen cases where even for 4 days, people are under a digital arrest. And as a matter of fact, when I say 4 days, it's literal 4 days. When the person is sleeping, the person is told not to switch off the video. You have to keep it on 24/7. And if you ask me why is it done? First of all, you create the fear factor, and then after, when the fear is made, obviously the person wants to get rid of the situation. So therefore, the criminals at that time, they either take your sensitive data, let's say your Aadhaar, your banking passwords, whatnot, or sometimes they take money as well. We have seen cases these days where people are losing amounts more than 50 lakhs in a digital arrest. In fact, last week we saw this case. So there's this lady and she's in her mid-60s. So again, the same activity happened. But guess what? She is living with her daughter. Her daughter is asking, during this digital arrest, her daughter is asking her twice, what happened, mom? Is everything okay? Please tell me. And she's like, no, nothing. I'm all good. She's transferring, I think 73 lakhs was the amount. She transferred the money. When she was transferring this huge amount, she was getting calls from the bank as well. That, ma'am, you are transferring such a huge amount. Is all okay? It's our duty to, check. Yeah. But again, she was like, I'm okay. Why? Because that fear factor was there, that I have been told by police or investigating authorities that I should not talk to anyone about this. So this is the kind of fear factor that the cyber criminals are playing upon.
And I think, they know how to play with the psychology.
Exactly.
Right, of the people, how to actually harness whatever they are planning to implant in the people's mind, right? And you talked about very prominent fraud which is happening. FedEx fraud. Would you like to elaborate on that also?
Sure. So the FedEx fraud is quite simple. It is like you get a call that there is this courier in your name. Sometimes, and the funny part, sometimes you have not done a courier in a year or so. Still, you get scammed. Later on, you realize, oh, I have not done that. And as you correctly said, they're playing with your psychology. They don't have those technical skills. They know when the person is vulnerable to attack, when the person will come in a fight or a flight response. I always say cyber criminals are excellent psychologists. They know when to hit. So in this FedEx fraud also, you get a call and they tell you that there is this this courier in your name and some illegal material has been found. So if you want to, and we have investigated, and they just name some sections, they name some crimes that, okay, you will be charged for this, that, XYZ. And for that, you have to either come on a video call, or they, they send you an OTP or a link that, okay, please send us this OTP back and this and that. Because at that time, you're hypnotized. Your psychology is, boss, I'm in trouble. I have to get out of this. So you will blindly agree to them. So this is the FedEx fraud, and people are falling prey to this. Every now and then I'm getting calls from people about this fraud. I've lost 50,000, I've lost 3 lakhs. The amount differs, but the strategy is same.
So I would also like to know, I mean, as per your profession, you must have met some people, some cyber criminals, right? There's a good series also called Jamtara, which made all of us aware about the kind of practices that these people use. So what do you think is the background of these people? Are they very educated? Are they, how do they operate basically?
See, I'll tell you again, it's about psychology. When COVID happened, everyone lost their jobs, right? And specifically people in the villages, they had to suffer the brunt. Everything was lost. Somewhere they saw this option that this is quick money. You don't need any educational background. You just need to learn certain steps which are not so technical. And your job is done. You're earning lakhs and even crores sometimes. So it's the easy way out, right? That's where a lot of people are attracted to this. Wherever there's quick money, we have seen gambling cases, right? Why do people lose huge amounts of money in gambling? Because quick money. So again, cybercrime is all about quick money. When you talk about education, again, most of them, they lack education. Sometimes I'll say 30% of them are educated. Educated in the sense that they have done their college, graduation they have done. And their motive is again to earn quick money. They know the pros and cons, but somewhere they have this overconfidence that, okay, we'll be safe. Unfortunately or fortunately, the system is such that it's difficult to catch a cyber criminal. That idea also attracts them, that, okay, it's difficult to catch us. I mean, I've interacted with a couple of them, and that is their source of confidence there. When you talk about the uneducated people, they are brainwashed like anything. I mean, I've interacted with some of them, and in one of the examples, so this young chap, he's full-time into this. And I just asked him that, why are you doing this? And he just said, what wrong have I done? I mean, I'm just lying on the mobile phone. We lie in our real lives. And if I'm lying and you are trusting me, it's your fault. And as a matter of fact, then you lose money. So they are being brainwashed to such an extent that they are not being told that this is wrong, this is a crime. Again, this is part of cyber hygiene. They are just told that, okay, like you lie in real life, you just have to lie on mobile phones. And out of 10, even if you get a ratio of 7 people, you're good to go. Yeah. So I think the brainwashing at such a such a primary level for these guys, that's where the real problem is.
So I think if you're talking about brainwashing of these so-called innocent people, I would say, right, villagers and somebody from the rural side of India, right, underprivileged people. So are there gangs operating who take leverage of these people who are not educated properly and involve them in the crimes?
Any day. I mean, these are soft targets. They are not, first of all, they are young. Second, they are not educated. That's where I always say cyber hygiene is nothing but to educate people. And especially starting from there. If you start from there, if they know that this is a crime, then they will think twice before doing this. But sometimes they don't even know that this is a crime. They are just being told that, okay, this is a job and you just have to lie. You have to act, not even lie. You have to act on mobile. And sooner or later, when they realize that, okay, this is a crime, they are stuck. They are stuck in this menace. So these gangs, obviously, they operate because they need new people. But most importantly, that we have to understand is that they operate at a very smooth level. In the sense, they are quite organized. They are not unorganized, that they are calling random people. No. The more experienced these criminals are, the better organized they are. They have their own sheets maintained that, okay, this is the age group that we have to target. This is the, this is the geographical information, let's say from South Delhi, North Delhi, or these are the professions. So they are so streamlined, and that's where they're able to get results. So it's more like a funnel method that they do. And the problem, that's just one part of the problem. So major problem is they are doing what they are doing. But we as common citizens, we don't know these basic things. I mean, deepfakes, it is prominent right now, but a lot of people don't know. Thinking that, okay, I'm not from the IT background, why should I know? But I always say, boss, you're using a laptop, you're using a mobile phone, right? If you are using any electronic device, it is your responsibility to at least know what's happening around you so that you don't become a potential victim next time.
So that's a very good point, actually, which I would like you to elaborate more on. So nowadays, a lot of people have access to the laptops, and I think more or less more or less everybody has access to the mobile phones, right? And mobile phones have cameras, they have mics, and we have noticed a phenomena which we have discussed among friends also, that whatever we discuss, right, personally between us, we start seeing ads. Be it a visit to, let's say, I am talking to my friend about visiting Mumbai. These ads start coming on onto my mobile, right? So, how do you think these companies are leveraging this information without our approval? I don't want them to hear my every conversation that I am doing in my day-to-day lives. There could be some private matters also that I am discussing with, let's say, my wife, right? Something personal, something very confidential also about my office work. So, how do you think that these people make use of this information, and how we can protect ourselves?
Well, there is a reason they are called smart devices. They are smart. They listen to you. And when you talk about without a consent, this is a gray zone. Why? Because number one, as human beings, again, it is our. I'm again and again going on the psychology part because people forget this part, that psychology has a huge role to play when we talk about people and technology. As human beings, we think that everything is free. Internet is for us. We take it for granted. But there is a famous saying: if on the internet the product is free, then you are the product, which means your data is the product. You take any app, right, on Play Store, 90% of the apps, I'm not even 90%, 100% of the apps that you use on your mobile, on laptops are free. There is a reason why they are free. These smart devices, on another level, you buy the phone, that's fine, but these are smart. They listen to everything. And if you ask me why do they listen, see, the concept started with that, okay, you have to know your customer better. And so that if you have to know your customer better, you should know what your customer likes, dislikes. The concept was good, but now I personally feel it is going overboard because there is no privacy. There is only privacy when you don't have a device within 10 meters in your range. That's where privacy is there. But when you talk about that, I have not given them permission, that is again subjective. Why? Because a lot of times the terms and conditions mention that if you're using our services, you are giving us the right to use your data, to take your data. But obviously we don't read. I always ask this famous question to a lot of people. How many of you have read the terms and conditions of WhatsApp, Instagram, Facebook? We have not. We have not, because we think that it is free. We take it for granted. But guess what? If you go on their terms and conditions, a lot of things are there which you'll be shocked. You'll be like, okay, and it is not their fault. They have done their due diligence. They have given you the terms and conditions. As a citizen also, it's your duty to read them.
I agree with you, but also there's a thing that, okay, if WhatsApp wants to use my images and my voice samples, right, and it says that if you don't allow me, then you cannot use WhatsApp, right? Then that becomes a challenge for me, right? Because I have to use it. So anyways, I have to give approval to that also, right? So I would say, I mean, somewhere down the line, guidelines have to be there, right? To what extent the companies can use and collect the data. And we see a lot of things are happening by the government where localization of the servers are happening, right? All the data from people of India would be resided in India. But again, I think one question that always I wanted to ask some expert is how can we protect ourselves, right? We have to use UPIs, we have to use all the services, apps, right? All these things. I mean, it's very difficult if, I mean, given the changing of habits, I don't carry cash anymore, right? Wherever I have to pay, even for a chai wala, I use a UPI app. It has made life very convenient, but at the same time, a lot of people are getting access to our account details, right? Although there are, I think, some level of security provided by the government by using these apps, but first of all, we are not that careful, right? Second, we are not that aware, and third is again about convenience, right? So what do you think that people should take care of, and how is it that even after a lot of technology, and even if when the cyber criminals are not that educated, government is not able to capture them in a timely manner?
Well, I always say in life, there is nothing known as black or white. It's always gray. And unfortunately, as human beings, as you mentioned it, there can't be extreme situations. It can't be that, okay, you are using technology carelessly, mindlessly. And I'm not saying that, okay, leave everything. That's also not possible.
Yep.
Practically, it's not possible.
Yep.
So there were two questions. Answering to your first question, that, okay, apps are, they put such terms in front of you that either use it, but then you have to go based upon our directions. Whatever, you have to agree to these. That's again a tricky situation. And the different countries are bringing up different laws to tackle this situation. In our country, there is this law which has just come up, which is known as the Digital Personal Data Protection Act. This is to cater to the data of our Indians. But again, everything is a little incomplete because it's again the first draft. When you talked about data localization, this law which has come up, its 2019 draft mentioned data localization. This law till now has not mentioned data localization. Obviously, the government has said that they will come up with certain clarifications, but at least till now it's not mentioned. That's one. Second, when you talk about how to protect yourselves, I think again coming to the fundamentals, I also use smartphones. Yes, I don't use UPI out of choice, though that is quite inconvenient. Right now also I was coming from the cab and I had to carry change. Otherwise the cab drivers are like, we don't have change, just do UPI. Wherever convenience is there, potential problems are bound to happen. You can't say that we are living in in such a beautiful space that nothing will happen. UPI is new technology, AI also, right? It is increasing your convenience, but potential problems are there. So number one is to understand and to educate yourself that, okay, this, you have to, if not even educate, you have to, I think, admit to this fact that this will happen, number one. Number two, which is the most important thing, is 3 things you should not do on the internet, which are called the core principles of cyber hygiene. These are TRC. What are these? Trust, reliance, carelessness. These 3 things should not be done at any cost. Number one is trust. You cannot trust anyone on the internet. Your so-called friend, even your wife, again, on internet I'm saying. Physically, it's a different ball game. On the internet, you don't know it's your wife or it's a cyber criminal impersonating as your wife.
Yeah.
But obviously, as human beings, we tend to believe these kind of things, and things like deepfakes, voice cloning are just increasing this problem of trust. I always say we are moving in a time where you can't trust anything. You have to question every single thing. Why? Because deepfakes, they can manipulate the video. Voice cloning, they can manipulate the voice. What else is there? And generative AI, they can manipulate text. So everything can be manipulated, altered, so you can't trust anything. So number one principle is that. R is reliance. Unfortunately, as you said, we have huge reliance upon technology. As human beings, it's bound to happen. Like I always give this example of, earlier it was Google, now it's ChatGPT. Some days back, there was, I think, some error due to which ChatGPT was not working and there was panic. I know students, I know professionals who are panicking. How will we do our work? Because you have reliance on that technology. It has increased so much of your convenience. See, reliance up to one point is fine, but don't be, the concept of over-reliance should not be there. That without this, you can't do anything. You mentioned UPIs. See, I'm not saying don't use UPI. Don't be like me. I don't use UPI by mere choice, but have some flexibility. UPI and cash. Why? Because if you're completely relied upon such technologies, you are a vulnerable target. Cyber criminal knows that this person has nowhere to go. And because anywhere, we are careless. Even if we are using UPIs, banking, we tend to make careless mistakes, right? Therefore, reliance is, I would say, over-reliance is a problem. Third thing is carelessness. As I mentioned, we are, as human beings, we are careless. We are imperfect beings. But always remember, if you lack education in the sense, if you lack awareness of these crimes, carelessness is bound to happen. If you take all these examples, any case, you will see, if you are listening it like a third person, you'll be like, how stupid this person can be, right? But it's not about that. If you would have been in his or her place, you would have done the same thing. Why? Because we are generally careless. And apart from that, cyber criminals, obviously, they take advantage of it. I have quoted this case, but again, I'll do that. A doctor, okay, in Delhi NCR, and he was looking for a property in South Delhi. And while he was looking, obviously his search history was full of these searches. Cyber criminals did their homework. So one fine day, so his doctor has a schedule. Every alternate day, he spends 3 hours in the surgery room. He does different operations. And in those 3 hours, he takes a 15-minute break. and it's fixed. Let's say if the time is from 11 to 2, then in between around 12:30 to 12:45, he'll take a break. Now, one fine day, he gets during those 15 minutes, he gets a call while he was going through his WhatsApp that, sir, we are calling from this and that, agency, and based upon our research and your preference, we have found this is the link we have sent to you on WhatsApp. Kindly look at it, and we have some extremely good offers with respect to properties in South Delhi. So obviously, the person, the doctor, he went to that link. The link was not working. At that time, the doctor thought that, okay, the net is not working, and he ignored. Later on, after the surgery, when he came back, he found out that his money was gone. Why? Because that link was malicious. He was careless. And again, I would not see, it's all about timing as well. Cyber criminals never attacked him when he was sitting peacefully, where he could apply his mind. Attacked him at that time when he's exhausted with surgery. He's in the middle of things. That's the sweet spot to attack. And that's where carelessness is bound to happen as well. Therefore, these TRC, trust, reliance, carelessness, should not be done.
That's very well summarized. One thing, on the same case, I would like to ask, is it possible to lose money even without giving OTP to any person?
Now, that's a very interesting question. See, if I'm a cyber criminal, my aim is money. There are n number of ways to get money. And if you ask me, somewhere or the other, we make their lives simpler. Why? Because to execute their plan, the more data they have about you, the more personal data they have about you, the better it is. And we being, as human beings, we tend to, and specifically in our country as well, we tend to distribute our data like anything else. And unfortunately, we consider our Aadhaar card as a ration card. Everywhere where you're told that you should give an identity proof, there are different identity proofs. You can give your passport, your driving license, your PAN card, but no, we give our Aadhaar card. And our Aadhaar card has our biometrics, the most sensitive data that you can have. I always say you can change your face in today's times, name, address, whatnot. You can't change your biometrics. And if your biometrics, you're just circulating it here and there. Let's say you are checking in a hotel and you're giving your Aadhaar straight away. Guess what? You don't know what is happening to your Aadhaar data. If somewhere or the other it is in the hands of a cyber criminal, then he can attack you in n number of ways. And then it's not about if OTP is not working, link fraud will work. If link fraud is not working, deepfake, voice cloning. So they have a buffet of options. And another question which a lot of people ask is that a lot of times it's people say Aadhaar, you have to give your Aadhaar only.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, Supreme Court has this judgment. At Supreme Court, they have mentioned in this judgment that Aadhaar is not necessary. No one can force you to give your Aadhaar. I know there are some places where it's mandatory, but no, it's not. It's your option. You can any day you can state this judgment. You can say that Supreme Court says, if you go on the internet and if you write Supreme Court judgment on Supreme Court judgment on Aadhaar, it will give you the exact judgment. So it's not necessary. Therefore, again, the part of carelessness comes in. You should not be careless and circulating your Aadhaar. Keep your data with you. The more the more difficult you make things for the cyber criminal in terms of not being careless on the internet, the chances are higher that you'll be safe. Why? Because if I am a cyber criminal, I have 100 people to attack. If Mr. X, has cyber hygiene in terms of he or she is not sharing their personal data regularly, they are quite conscious of what they share on the internet, then you are a difficult nut to crack. So I'll not waste my time on you. I can go on the others who are easily and vulnerable to attack. So therefore, being conscious of what you are sharing on the internet becomes very important if you have to safeguard yourself from these kind of attacks.
I think for Aadhaar also the purpose was to have a safeguarded digital kind of a verification. But what people have made out of it is, again, they are taking photographs, photocopies of Aadhaar and circulating it everywhere. So it has made our data more vulnerable to these attacks, right? So now I would like to ask, if somebody gets attacked, be it an OTP fraud or any kind of mishappening that happened, right? Let it be voice cloning kind of an attack or deep fakes, right? So what are the options that I have? Can I go to the court? Should I go to police? What is the plan of action that I should follow?
See, there are certain plan of actions, certain steps that you can follow. Number one is, I there's this term in the legal fraternity which is called as due diligence. For the benefit of the user, due diligence is your responsibility that you should do. And what is due diligence in this case? If unfortunately you have become a victim of any cybercrime, number one, there is this number, the official government's number, which is 1930. You can go there, you can call, you can register your complaint. That's number one. Number two, another government online portal which is known as cybercrime.gov.in. You can go there and you can register an online FIR. Now, these two steps are fine. Coming to the third step, a lot of people think that, okay, going to the cybercrime center or a nearby station would be good. I agree that these processes should work, but practically they don't. Why? Because see, it's quite simple. If you're going to a cybercrime cell, at the end of the day, why are you going? You have to be clear. You want your money back or you want the criminal? Their job is to catch criminals. So, and I personally say, why are you wasting your time in hoping that a criminal will be catched? It's very difficult. It's very difficult. It's not about the competency of the cybercrime cell. It's not about that. It's about the nature of this area. The nature of cybercrimes is such that it's very difficult to track a criminal. So I always say concentrate upon getting your money back. Now, when I talk about money, there is this RBI notification which came in, and which now there has been, in the recent past, there has been certain changes. Earlier, that notification was bent towards the benefit of citizens who have lost their money. And it said that if within a reasonable period, let's say and this notification says within 72 hours, if you're able to intimate the bank, not in a verbal manner, in a written manner, whether physically or online on a mail, but properly, using all nuances. It should not be a 3-liner mail that, okay, this has happened with me, what to do. No, it should be nuanced properly. The notification doesn't mention legal, but I'm saying legal. Why? Because if you're having legal nuances to it, it adds to it. It definitely strengthens your respective case. If you're doing that within 72 hours, if you're sending that intimation to the bank, it is the legal responsibility of the bank. Now, this was the heading of this RBI notification, and there have been certain changes. A lot of users, they might take this statement as a literal statement. If it's the they might say, if it's the legal responsibility of the bank, then why is bank not giving? There are a lot of permutations and combinations to it. In the recent past, there has been certain changes. What are these changes? So if you read the notification carefully, it says that it's not it's not an exhaustive notification in terms of there are certain things, certain parameters we have to see. Did the bank did its due diligence? What is the due diligence? Let's say we talked about digital arrest, right? In that lady's case, she was transferring huge amount, lakhs and lakhs of amounts. What's the bank's responsibility? The bank's responsibility is to call and to recheck that, ma'am, we are seeing that these kind of huge transactions are happening. Is it you or is it a crime? It's their due diligence. A lot of times banks do this, but I've also seen cases where banks don't. That's where they have not done their certain due diligence. That's one. Number two, what kind of negligence has been there on your part? Now, on this statement, people will be like, yaar, galti to meri thi. I have shared the link. I have given the OTP. I'm at fault. That's no doubt somewhere you're right. But you have, again, it depends upon the circumstances of the case. Every case is different. If you are able to prove that negligence was not, I always say that negligence is subjective. Negligence is not a literal term. The definition of negligence is subjective based upon case to case. So if in your case, it is convinced that the negligence was not extreme in nature. What is extreme in nature? In terms of कि आपकी ही गलती थी, सब कुछ आपने किया, बैंक ने अपनी सारी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी पूरी की, बट आप फिर भी गलतियां करे जा रहे हो, then it's negligence, and then obviously bank will not be responsible for your negligence, right? But if that negligence has some concrete matter to present that, okay, I'm not at fault. Yes, I did. It was a fault, but it's not a certain negligence for which I'll be punished 100%. I need certain compensation. Again, that's where it depends upon case to case. That's where things can be considered. So at the end, the moral is that this notification helps you for sure, only if, again, time is of essence. 72 hours is the first bracket. Then between 72 hours to overall 10 days, it's the second bracket. After 10 days, it depends upon the policy of the bank. Whatever is the policy, and there are different policies of different banks. So within the 10 days, that time period is quite crucial. And if you think as a user, I can just send a mail, that would be an incomplete job because you have not mentioned the nuances. You're not legally equipped to send such a notice. The more legal nuances this notification has, your intimation has, the better chances are there. And we have seen cases where people, thanks to this notification, they have got their money back. If not 100%, at least 80%. But I always say 0 se to 80% better here.
Yep.
So these things are there. These tools are there. But don't take it literally. When I talk to people, they are like, bank ne to nahi kiya. But when I talk to them, I ask them what happened. उनको पता लगता है कि negligence उन्हीं की थी. Every case differs. So it depends upon case to case कि लूप होल कहाँ है. बहुत बार आप एज ए यूज़र आपको लगता है मेरी गलती थी, बट अगर मैं एज ए लॉयर हूँ, मैं देखूंगा यार गलती आपकी थी, बट बैंक की 4 और गलतियाँ थी, आपने तो देखा नहीं है. सो अगर बैंक की वो 4 गलती निकली तो ऑब्वियसली वी हैव सम स्कोप. हाँ, बट अगर बैंक, इफ द बैंक हैज डन इट्स ड्यू डिलिजेंस 100%, एवरी स्टेप हैज बीन टेकन केयर ऑफ, एंड फिर भी आपकी नेग्लिजेंस होती है, and obviously you have to suffer the brunt.
So in some cases, bank pays back. Do people also get money back from the investigating agencies? Like police cracks the case and they find out the criminal and gets the money back, and the user gets the money back.
See, again, this happens. This sure happens, but again, this is percentage बहुत कम है. क्यों? Because sometimes we have seen complex cases getting solved easily. Sometimes it is normal cases भी easily solve हो रहे, but chances वहाँ कम ही रहते हैं. Why? See, police तो they lack hands, right? They are getting, these cases are increasing every day. They are getting these complaints every day. तो किस किस को देखें आप, एक को solve करो 10 और आ जाते हैं. तो because of bandwidth issues with them, you can't expect कि हर case ही एकदम वो होगा. There is bandwidth issues. There is no, I'm not saying they're not competent. They are, they lack hands. They need more people. Because cases जिस speed पे increase हो रहे हैं, उतने speed पे low increase नहीं हो रहे जिसको solve कर सके. So समटाइम्स इट डज, बट उस पर मैं हमेशा कहता हूँ बैक मत करो. ट्राई करो, साइबर क्राइम सेल में जाके कंप्लेंट करो, दैट इज पार्ट ऑफ योर ड्यू डिलिजेंस, बट डोंट हैव होप्स कि यार इसी से ही होगा. आपको 4-5 चीज़ें करनी होंगी, तब जाकर शायद कुछ काम बने. एंड द मोस्ट इंपॉर्टेंट थिंग इज़ योर ओन फॉलोअप्स. बहुत बार लोग क्या करते हैं, वो ये सब करने के बाद बैठ जाते हैं. दे माइट लूज होप, बट डोंट फॉरगेट फॉलोअप्स इज़ वेरी वेरी very important, because you have to understand it is not just your case. बहुत cases आते हैं, आपका उसमें से एक केस है, पैसे आपके गए हैं, तो आपकी रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी बनती है बार बार फॉलो करना.
What is the biggest amount of fraud that you have seen and encountered?
I have I think 33 crores.
33 crores. 33 crores. That's a lot of amount.
That's a lot of amount.
What was the case about?
Not an individual. It was a company lost 33 crores. It was a data breach attack.
Okay.
So for the benefit of the users, data breach is when a company or an institution, their database is attacked and all their data is taken for different purposes. If I talk about famous data breach attack cases, last year, AIIMS, All India Institute of Medical Sciences, this was a huge case. I mean, the biggest institution in the medical fraternity in our country, a huge data breach happened. What was the problem? It was not that AIIMS में attack हुआ है. Problem was एम्स में मेडिकल डेटा है, मेडिकल सेंसिटिव डेटा है, वो सारा डेटा चला गया बाहर कंट्री के. यू डोंट हैव एनी, एज आई सेड राइट, आपके पास कोई कंट्रोल है ही नहीं ना. सो इफ दैट डेटा इज गॉन, एवरीथिंग इज गॉन. सो डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ फ्रॉड्स आर देयर एंड पीपल लूज अमाउंट. एंड द बिगेस्ट मिथ, आई वुड लाइक टू मेंशन दिस मिथ, इट्स when you are a victim, it's not about how educated you are, it's not about your age, it's not about your background as well. I mean, if you think that people in the IT background are well equipped, I'm sorry, that's a huge myth. It doesn't matter. The only thing which matters is how equipped you are in terms of your awareness. If you are aware that these kinds of frauds are happening, chances are high at that critical moment you might think that okay, this might be a fraud. You might recheck. But if you don't know that this kind of fraud is happening, if you don't know what is a digital arrest, तब तो digital arrest आपके साथ होगा ही.
I mean, I've seen cases happening in OLX also, when people try to sell some product, they get some malicious person to reach out to them and willing to share a QR code, right? Now, I mean, platforms are trying to validate users and do all kind of these things. But again, I think it's a lot about your own personal safety that you have to take care of,
Exactly.
right? All the steps that are there. Also, I mean, we have recently seen how I think, I mean, debatably, Israel planted some explosives in the pagers of Lebanon army, right? So, what do you think? I mean, is the safety level of devices that we are using, right? If in a war-like situation, and given for a country like India, we are surrounded by Pakistan, China, right? At the time of inconvenience or war, right? All these things can also be used to attack us, right? They can, if we move to, let's say, driverless cars, right? We know that they can bring an entire country to a stop, right? So what do you think? I mean, the level of security should be there in the devices, I mean, considering this kind of case that happened recently.
We have always said that after the World War, the new World War will be in the cyberspace, cyber warfare, and we have seen different examples, but this was a big teaser. This incident that happened a couple of days back, and not just one, two incidents happened consecutively. On one day, pagers were blasted, 5,000 pagers. On the other day, walkie-talkies were blasted as well. So again, some people might argue that this is an outdated technology, they manipulated it, but guess what? Before this incident happened, people used to say in this fraternity that this can happen. It's only as a matter of fact, someone will execute it, someone did. And when we talk about smart devices in today's times, they are equally vulnerable, but the ramifications can be disastrous. We are surrounded, right? Smart TVs, smart watches, smart ACs, and it's while using AI, leveraging AI. The role of AI was not so much in these kind of attacks, but in the upcoming times, it will not be pages or all these walkie-talkies. It will be more of your smartphones, smart watches, smart ACs, smart TVs. These will be manipulated. At level 1, we have seen that, okay, someone has got into your smart TV or smart laptop and they are recording you. We have seen those cases. But the next step is these kind of blasts that are taking place. If I talk about mobile phones, if it gets overheated, it will blast. Only if someone manipulates it. So again, these are, and this concept is known as Internet of Things. What is Internet of Things? Any object which is attached to the internet. Earlier, there were no smart watches, smart TVs, smart ACs. They were just ACs, TVs, watches. These are attached with the internet. Obviously, we only see the advancements at the at the prima facie, but we forget that these, again, where convenience is increasing, potential problems are also increasing. I mentioned that earlier as well. If your convenience is increasing, that okay, smartwatch tells me XYZ things, Alexa, smart TV, I just command my smart AC and AC starts. Yes, advancements are there, but the potential problems are also there. And what is to be done is strengthening our respective cyber ecosystem. If you are advancing, that's good. But advancing at the cost of not having certain regulations in place, not having certain cybersecurity measures in place, then you have to think twice. I'm not saying the companies and regulatory bodies are not doing it. They are doing it. But unfortunately, the technology is moving at such a rapid space and it's become a race now. I mean, all the big tech companies in the world, they are in a race, right? Company X brings a AI model, then company Y brings another AI model the next week. It's a race. So we are moving at such a rapid pace, but we don't have the brakes. So ramifications can be huge.
I think one more device that I would like to mention is very unsafe and people are using it very often are the Chinese cameras, security cameras, CCTV cameras. The entire footage is actually uploaded to a Chinese cloud, right? So be it your personal room, be it your outside, your neighbors, everything is covered and might be watched by somebody, right? In case they want to do anything. So that's again an area where we have to be very careful, right? What kind of devices are we using? Any devices from unfriendly countries, right? So I think it's very difficult right now to outcompete China and have everything made in India. But again, people should be more careful about what kind of companies they are using, right? For amount of 500 rupees, if you are buying a cheaper product, right? And again, not taking care of your security, your neighborhood security, your country's security, then the blame lies with us also.
But adding to this point, it's not also about the country. It's about we don't value our data. For example, if today, let's say I take 20,000 from you, okay, I give you 20,000, right? And I say that, okay, I'm giving you 20,000. After a month, I'll come back and I'll take it. After a month, I come back and you say, I don't have 20,000. What will a normal person do? He or she will sue you that give me my 20,000 back. because we value money. But if I give all my data, I think we don't value data. Data is I think it's of immense value, lakhs and even crores. If you go on different these fast food chains, what happens? The normal exercise is after giving your order, their second question is, please give your mobile number. Why? We don't even ask. We just straight away give it. Why? Because unfortunately, we are data careless. And we have seen in Europe, okay, a couple of years back, there was this law which came in, General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR, which is a law for data regulation. Before that law, people they were not data conscious, they were data careless. They used to distribute data. Now it's been 6 to 7 years since that law came. People are very conscious. When we deal with the clients from Europe, they are very conscious of their data. Why? They ask questions like, why is our data being taken? Where are you keeping it? Till how much time are you keeping it? What is the purpose? Thanks to this new law which has come up, the Digital Personal Data Protection Act in India, DPDP Act, I personally feel people in India will start to value their data more. Because if you value your data more, then obviously it's a direct correlation, right? The lesser data you are circulating, crimes will also get lesser. Because जितना साइबर क्रिमिनल्स के पास डेटा कम होता है, अटैक करना थोड़ा और मुश्किल हो जाता है. सो आई पर्सनली फील considering the value of data, your personal data, is of immense importance.
So given all these things that we have discussed, right, very risky things, very, very important things for the users. So where do you see the role of government, what they should do and what they are lacking currently to keep up with the rapid times of changes in technology?
I personally believe it's very easy to blame the government. That's huge. So obviously it's easier, right? We need a target and government is a free target for everyone. But if you understand, there is not just one nuance. Government, first of all, is dealing in n number of sectors. It's not just IT that they're dealing in. I agree there are different, domains. IT ministry is there, labor ministry is there. For different domains, different ministries are there. But in IT also, there are a lot of problems. If I go behind data protection, then AI problem comes in. When I go for AI, something else comes in. So government is taking steps. Before this AI revolution also, Niti Aayog had come up with certain guidelines as well, certain policy measures which companies can take. This new DPDP Act is a positive step. And right now, some time back, our IT minister, he mentioned that our law minister, in fact, he mentioned that because there are a lot of copyright issues that are taking place because of generative AI. So we are coming up with a law which will cater to the creators, the content creators on the internet. So these are the fundamental steps. But I now feel that it's a little, some sort of speed has to increase. No doubt there are a number of things, but speed has to be increased. Why? Because technology is just increasing. That gap is increasing between our awareness, our regulations and technology. Pre-COVID, that gap was there, but still it was not increasing at such a massive level. Now it's increasing. COVID has actually shifted us 5 to 10 years. Before COVID and after COVID, there are two different worlds altogether. Things are increasing rapidly. I personally feel that advancements and quickness in bringing regulations with respect to the cyberspace becomes extremely pivotal. So I think increasing the speed, and also one is increasing the speed of bringing up certain legislation, if not legislations, because it's difficult. There are a number of things. Parliament ne pass karana hota hai, kya karna hota hai. At least certain policies, certain outcome documents for which these documents can at least help people as a guiding principle, that okay, these things have to be followed. Certain hygiene practices, that okay, if you're using generative AI, these 5 to 6 steps you have to follow. Because if government brings it, then it holds certain value. If a private entity brings you the same principles, you won't pay any heed to it. If the government is bringing you the same principles, you as a business owner, as an individual, you still have a look at it. So government, I personally feel, yes, they are doing their job, but a little bit of efficiency and quickness is required.
On a closing note, I would like to ask, you see a lot of changes in technology, right? A lot of things upcoming, a lot of new technology upcoming. What do you see in future could be key development areas, and what are the challenges it poses, and how can we safeguard ourselves?
Have you seen Rajinikanth's Robot movie?
Yeah.
Right? So we think, yes, that's the ultimate level, that we want to create robots, right? Number one is robotics. Robotics is before COVID, we used to think that okay, this it was more like a hypothetical situation that okay, robots will be there and this and that, but it's happening. If you look at countries, they are having their annual robot fests where actually realistic robots are being made. So robotics is one field which is coming up. Number two, OpenAI. Some time back, they had made this public announcement. Then they're working on this idea called their project called Superintelligence, and the Superintelligence project will be executed by 2027. If you add 1 to 2 years extra, 2030, still we are what we in 2024 to 2030 is just nearby. What is superintelligence? Superintelligence is this in the robot movie that I mentioned. If I have to go in literal terms, superintelligence is the next level of AI where machines will be able to do tasks which are beyond human imagination. And as I said, I gave the robot example because it could do certain tasks which are beyond human imagination and capabilities. So we are going towards that part. Again, gone are those days, pre-COVID times, where technology was moving. These were concepts, people used to talk about it, but practically nothing was happening. This is happening. And when OpenAI has given their statement, they have done it with ChatGPT. So they have one proof that, okay, whatever they have committed to, they have brought that in the practical space. So if these kind of things are coming up, then definitely different types of crimes can also increase. Hypothetical examples, there can be n number of hypothetical examples. If you are having a robot, that robot can be manipulated. Then what all things can happen? Driverless cars, right? If someone manipulates a driverless car, any accidents can be caused just like that. Your whole transportation systems can go for a 6. And there are right now also certain crimes happen. Sometimes the whole electricity of the whole town goes out. Sometimes the national pipes are manipulated. So at the end of the day, you have to realize internet is everywhere. Anything can be manipulated. Why? Sometimes because of human error, sometimes because of lack of awareness. But at the end of the day, you can't run away from it. So it's better to be safe than sorry and to equip yourself with at least basic knowledge of what's happening around you. I'm not saying if you're not a techie guy, be a hardcore techie guy. No. Just realize that, okay, your GK should be enhanced, right? That, okay, these kind of things are happening. If I'm using a mobile phone, it is my sole responsibility to know what is happening in this ecosystem, in the generic space, which might impact me so that I'm aware. And in the future, when certain thing will, the certain situation will come, I'll be ready for it.
Great. Thanks a lot, Saakshar. It was very helpful. And I think in terms of bringing awareness, the discussion that we had, right, might also prove essential and very useful for the audience to understand how things work, how they can protect themselves, what are the legal options that they have, and what are the upcoming things, right? So again, thanking you. It was very fruitful discussing all of these things with you and taking your insights into all these areas, right? Thanks for coming again.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.